Briefly, what advice would you give to children and parents today? You tell them to learn about the movement, to listen to people like yourselves who were involved, or try to learn, try to meet people like yourselves. What would you tell them?
I would tell them discipline. Learn discipline. If you got discipline, you can deal with the situation. You need to learn that. Education is all right, but everybody can't be a doctor. You can't be a lawyer. Vocational technical, which I had for 4 years, which I retired at 55. I was a vocational individual. I became a teaching professional. But the discipline and trust and honor and not hatred. Hatred never was on my agenda.
Okay. Vincent?
There were people that paved the way for me, although we were still within a segregated society. But life was better for me than it was for my parents and my grandparents. And what I would emphasize to young people is that they also have a role of making life better, just regardless of how you want to define better, for those that's following after them. So it's just a continuous process of one group making life much better. You know, I think every parent wants a life to be better for their children and on and on. And we're going to always be faced with challenges, whether it's behavior or whether it's just our own personal challenge. How can I individually become a better person? How can I have some influence on other people? I set out in 1962, not knowing that I would ever enjoy the public accommodations, but I was determined to try and make a difference. I read someplace where a person made a statement that anybody can make a difference. Everybody should try.
All right.
And that's what I was trying to make a difference in our community, and hopefully that would also move on to make a difference in our nation.
Let me ask one final question. Were you ever scared? Do you regret anything? Your participation?
Yes, I was afraid. There were some times, you know, when you didn't know. Every march, every participation was the possibility of getting hurt. I remember just one time that I became frustrated, and I think we all became frustrated in the communities, that the temperature had gotten down close to zero. And of course, I lived out in Old Hickory, and other guys were.
Which is Old Hickory was outside of Nashville.
So I didn't get the word. So I showed up at Cross Keys, and I said, since I'm here, I might as well.
Cross Keys Restaurant.
Right. I just might as well protest. And that went on for about an hour, you know, and I was getting all kind of jeers. And so I caught the bus and went back home. And so I called First Baptist Church and asked, what happened? Oh, they canceled that. Well, I tell you what, it was, although it was cold outside, but I tell you, I was burning up inside. And then we had a discussion following that. How could we broaden the participation? And we was discussing getting more people involved, or spreading it to the, John mentioned going back to the seminary, and involving younger children, which that was something that we were advised not to do by the leaders in the SCLC, because, you know, you getting their safety. And also, we were faced with the challenge of funds. You know, you get arrested, you know, where are we going to get the money to to get people out of it. So yes, you know, I was concerned, you know, and I think most people were concerned at some point or another.
Okay. Joe?
When you talking about scared, I never was scared of nobody growing up in North Nashville, near the projects or in the projects. I remember when James Beverly and them was moving on, Diane, and they got
Nash.
married, Diane Nash, they was moving on to Birmingham. And John Lewis had started showing up, and I was always out front. I loved to be out front. I was trying to protect.
As short as you were.
Yeah, as little as I am. If you ever see in the picture, you see how small I am of those guys from the seminary. But I never was scared. In fact, when the leader here, I call him the leader, Mr. Horsley, because he always led us until he got arrested. And then when he got arrested, I had to become a leader. They still thought I was that fierce. The kids over there, they knew I was in Washington, but they protected me because I stood up and stood out.
Okay.
Key thing that I had been messing with this guy from Hume Fall. The guy broke over there to get me, and Horsley stepped in the way, and they got him. And the fellow glass broke, and they both went to court and jail, and I was left there to lead the group. So here I am going to leave all these folks. But I don't know, I had to run for it when the police tried to get me. But I never was scared of anything.
Okay. Well, thank you all for this conversation. We hope that young people, older people will learn more if they don't already know about the civil rights movement. And I think we should say thank you all for what you did, for helping pave the way for so many of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's
Thank
certainly
you.
a privilege.
All right.